Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Finally, we are back with a fresh new episode of The Jasta Show. Today's guest is former Mushroom Head vocalist Jeffrey Nothing. We sat down for an in-depth conversation with Jeffrey. It was awesome, but I want to give everybody a little bit of a trigger warning if you're sensitive to health stuff or to anyone, questioning say certain health narratives. You might want to skip this one or skip over that part, but I know that occasionally we have some sensitive listeners or watchers who aren't always used to different narratives outside of the mainstream or the norm, and that's okay. More power to you. You got to do whatever it is that you got to do, and you got to do your own research, and you got to do your own due diligence, and that's all good. But I wanted to say big thank you to everyone who's got their tickets to Milwaukee Metal Fest. And you can come, not only can you come see Jeffrey Nothing perform, one of his only shows this year, especially the only show this year in Milwaukee. Come see him June 5th, which is a Friday, with Acid Bath, Polka Dot Cadaver, Obituary, Agalock, and many, many more. Get your tickets now at therave.com/metalfest. And while you're at it, get a meet and greet over at martyrstore.net. The meet and greets are moving fast this year because this year is probably the first year where we might actually have a sold-out Friday, possibly a sold-out Saturday. We'll see. Friday's in the lead right now, but since we just announced Napalm Death and Machine Head and a bunch of others, both days have been really picking up, and Sunday's doing very nice as well. Of course, you could have heard all this way sooner over at patreon.com/Jasta. And you can still subscribe and hear all my classic episodes over at gasdigital.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Grape Music. Check out the brutal debut album from Baltimore's punk metal hardcore amalgam. The band is called Gasket, and it's out now on Blue Grape. The album features the ferocious Blood to the Bone and Die Trying. Big thanks to Blue Grape Music. Make sure you check out bluegrapemusic.com after the podcast today. And also check out Heavy Hitter, who we just added to our Saturday lineup with Killswitch, Suicidal, Power Trip, Machine Head, Napalm Death, and more. Heavy Hitter rules. Blue Grape Music rules. They have a stage at Milwaukee Metal Fest. We cannot thank them enough for their support of the Jasta Show and the festival. All right, let's get to the band of the week here on the Jasta Show. This week is brought to you by Mindsnap Music. The band is called Dirt. You're hearing the track Rock Ain't Dead, taken from their new album Hell is Frozen, out now on Mindsnap Music. You can check these guys out at Milwaukee Metal Fest 2026. They're playing Friday, June 5th with Acid Bath, Obituary, Agalock, Polka Dot Cadaver, and many more. Big thanks to Mindsnap Music. Once again, check out our band of the week, Dirt, their new album, Hell is Frozen, and make sure to catch them at Milwaukee Metal Fest with today's guest, Jeffrey Nothing. This episode is also brought to you by Sumerian Records, another awesome sponsor of both the Jasta Show and Milwaukee Metal Fest. Right now you can save 10% off your order when you go and you sign up for their mailing list at SumerianRecords.com. It's that easy, no code needed, just sign up. You'll see they have new releases from Poppy, Roman Candle, Face Yourself, Slaughter to Prevail, Starbenders, and many more. Head on over to SumerianRecords.com after the podcast today. Get yourself some new merch and some new records. Big thanks to Sumerian Records. All right, everybody. Jeffrey Nothing, the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him. Ex-Mushroom Head vocalist, now doing his own thing, and will be appearing at Milwaukee Metal Fest Friday, June 5th. Now on to the show.
My friend, the lead singer of Hatebreed, the infamous and notorious Jamey Jasta, is in the building. That's what's up.
Jamey Jasta from the metal band Hatebreed. That guy's famous.
Coffee, death metal, and push-ups.
That's Jamey Jasta. Remember Jamey Jasta? You know him. He's a podcaster, but he's also a metal man.
I would say delete that.
That shit is hard.
Your host, Jamey Jasta, Hatebreed.
Head songs. What is it? Tell us about the Jeffrey Nothing project, what we can expect if you don't mind sharing, and who's in the lineup and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're probably gonna do like a couple off of 13, possibly one off of Beautiful Stories. I'm trying to mix in some Purgatory and Hatrix. We're still working out the list. Gonna do a couple off the early days of Jeffrey Nothing and a couple of the new ones for sure. And I'm just having a really good time. I'm working with great guys and really good musicians, and I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Cool. Can you have you already begun rehearsing? Have you announced the lineup yet, or is that coming in the next few months?
I'm putting together the set right now, so I'm gonna start really hitting it once I got that lined up, so I know the order I'm working with and everything. And then all the guys in the project are from a really cool band I met a while back, but everybody's using pseudonyms, so it's not really a lineup of anything anybody would recognize.
Okay.
But I'm still feeling out what people are commenting, and if something hits me that I kind of put aside in my mind a little bit, maybe I'll hit something that is sparked by a comment. But I can't wait to do it. Playing Milwaukee Metal Fest has kind of always been a bucket list thing I wanted to do. I've always played a rave. I'm hoping to make it to Eagle's Nest, and I just love that place. I'm so happy to be a part of this with you.
Yeah, man, we're psyched too. And looking back through your catalog, I always knew you were prolific, but seeing the amount of releases and the songs, I thought, wow, you're gonna get hit up by a lot of people. Definitely, like you just said, if they hit you up in the comments or whatever, I know that's going to happen. But just looking over it, what is your favorite song from or I guess from each project, from each band, when you look back, and what are the most fun ones to play? Is it Nightcrawler Bitch? Is it Sun Doesn't Shine? Like what is your favorite?
Yeah, I love Nightcrawler Bitch. Probably the most fun one to do from Purgatory Live is Valley of the Shadow of Death, and I almost feel like it's like our unofficial hit. For that project, I really love Psycho Face from Hatrix, but there's so many that I feel are really cool. I love the very first song, Sins of a Bastard Angel. For Mushroom Head, my favorite, just because of what it means to me, what I wrote it about, and doing it live was always amazing, is Becoming Cold 216. Probably my favorite Jeffrey Nothing first version from 2011. I really love Eyes of the Righteous. That came from my melody idea as far as the song, and my new stuff is feeling like it could possibly be my magnum opus, if there is such a thing for me. I just want to keep doing this until I can't anymore. But there's just a lot. It's like I just love writing and tracking. It's probably my favorite part of all of it.
Well, I always say your biggest song is still inside you, like your biggest piece of art, or your best, most impactful piece of work is always still inside you. So I like that you said that, and I like that you have that attitude. But and I know Mushroom Head is the most, I guess, commercially accessible thing you've done, if that's fair to say. But I know you'll probably get people that want you to play Simple Survival and Sun Doesn't Rise and songs like Kill Tomorrow. I know there's only so much you can squeeze into the set, but
how long is our set?
We're still working on that, because that's actually a great question, because here's the dilemma. Some fans want more bands and they want more stages, and in order to do more stands and more bands and more stages, you have to shorten the set lengths, or you have to overlap artists that you think it won't matter. So like last year, we wanted to extend the Necrogoblikon set I can't talk today, Jeff. I'm so sorry. I need
I'm
another.
right there with you.
I need another cup of coffee because I'm saying the wrong song titles. I'm saying I'm messing up my my words here. But what I was going to say was Necrogoblicon and Exodus had to clash. And we didn't realize how many of the same fans that they had, which is great. I love that people are more open-minded now and they like all different styles of and subgenres of metal. But you know, you guys are excited to play. You guys want to see Acid Bath. There's other bands on the lineup that you want to see. But do you cut the set, or do you just not? Or do you just have every band overlap and have more bands? I guess that's the dilemma. That's the question.
I mean, I was at Sonic Temple and Inc. and that happened a lot. But I feel like if there's a band that somebody really loves, they're going to stay for that whole set and miss a little bit of somebody else. And I want everybody to be seen by everyone, but it's just a festival way. Yeah, and just when you think, especially at those bigger festivals, like someone like Bring Me the Horizon, they'll put and I don't know, I'm just using this as an example, but say they put Overkill at the same, then you're gonna have one or two people that those were the only two bands I wanted to see. Yeah. They're clashing. You're like, really? You're banging Bring Me the Horizon and Overkill. Yeah, that happened to me at Sonic Temple. I just wanted to watch all of Acid Bath, and my buddy was like, "We gotta go over here." I'm like, "Ah!" It's the first time I think they played yet, but maybe they did something else outside of there. But it was just great to see them that day. Yeah, and you know what? I didn't get to see you at the Cleveland show with Hatebreed and Purgatory, and I apologize about that. That was like one of those days where everything that could go wrong went wrong on my end, and I'm on the phone and I'm on Zoom calls, and I was trying to figure out all this stuff, and you know what? I didn't even have a good show that night because I was so exhausted from dealing with all the business stuff. But that day I missed. There was a ton of guests there. You know, obviously Frank's family and old friends of ours from tons of different bands. And that day was the day that I decided no more workaholism. But it's like when you first quit drinking, or you first quit drugs, or you first quit whatever your addiction is, gambling, sex, and I believe they're all real. I believe they're all real addictions. I really do. You're gonna relapse, right? Like it doesn't always work the first time when you go cold turkey. But I saw how many people I let down that day and that night because I was just working, and then I didn't have a good show, right? Like it was fun, and the crowd was great, but I just felt like I was smoked from all the shit during the day. And now look at me over here. I'm starting back up. You're the first, big guest back on the podcast when I should be taking a break for the holidays. You seem to always have a lot on your plate, but that's definitely commendable. But what would you say your worst vice was, and what is your advice to people that need to make a change, especially during the holidays right now, where the magnifying glass can be on that? Yeah, I think toward the end of Mushroom Head, I was kind of drifting a little bit, and I thought my only real connection to that at that point was the Jägermeister. Yeah. So I would have a couple of shots before stage, because it's kind of, for a singer, it's like coats your throat. You feel like you can sing like even more better than you did without it. But I get to like a third of a bottle somewhere and go on stage, and some of my shows definitely suffered, but I've been sober from alcohol for about 8 years, and I feel like it's I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and my advice to people is moderation, I guess. And I'm really sorry about that Cleveland show. Like sometimes my hearing and my brain doesn't really click together, and I heard 25 from the guy at the side stage, and we just kept going, and we should have cut it right there. But we don't even have to get into that. No, I know. That's all water under the bridge. Yeah, don't worry about it. I wasn't bringing up that because of that. No, I understand. Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Jamey here letting you know today's episode is brought to you by Sumerian Records. That's right. The label that brought you After the Burial, Slaughter to Prevail, Face Yourself, and many more. They have new releases out now. You can go check it out at SumerianRecords.com. You'll see releases from Roman Candle. You'll see a bunch of vinyl represses that are available for pre-order now. Everybody from Starbenders to Bad Omens to Dayshell to Born of Osiris, but they're selling out quick. You know, like I tried to get the, I tried to go over and order the Stick to Your Guns. The color that I wanted was already sold out. I tried to order the, there's another one over there. Where the name is escaping me right now. I think it was Upon a Burning Body. Tried to order that. It was already sold out. So head on over to SumerianRecords.com and get yourself some vinyl, some merch, some CDs, and check out a bunch of new music before it's sold out. All right, SumerianRecords.com. No coupon code needed. Just sign up to the email list and you will get 10% off. While I have you, if you are coming to Milwaukee Metal Fest, not only do you need to stop by the Sumerian Records stage and check out all your favorite bands, but also get a meet and greet at martyrstore.net. They are selling faster this year because we have so many big bands that are playing the show, and the show Friday is looking like it's going to sell out. So don't get caught out. Get your tickets now at therave.com/metalfest, and then head on over to martyrstore.net and get yourself a meet and greet. All right, now back to the show. But I because I really wanted to try to get you on the podcast that day, and I know there was other people trying to get you on their podcast that day. I think there was something else too that it was one of those days that you go, you wake up and the dominoes start to fall, and it was like an eye opener to me. Like that. I just remember going, I have to delegate. Like I have to, otherwise I am going to start downing a bottle of Jägermeister, and I haven't touched it in 20. I haven't touched it in 20 years. But I remember that day also, I had started watching the video from the Cathedral of Life North Church that I remember it went like semi-viral, and that really, I mean, the comments were so positive, and people were just so supportive of you. And I remember thinking, God, if I ever get you on the podcast, I want to talk about that, because you know, that's the power of this stuff. That's the power of being able to kind of, you know, choose our own direction with our music and our just our communication as a whole, right? Like something like that can really affect people positively. Do you still hear about it? And what was it like? How did you get the courage to do that?
My wife passed away in April of 2024 after like a 9-year fight with cancer, and she was definitely a warrior. And we'd have such ups and downs with the oncologist. She'd be like feeling like she was in her best shape of the whole struggle, and then they'd be like, "Oh, it's back." And it was like hit us so hard because we didn't expect that. We thought we'd have a clean moment for a while to come. And when it got really sad, I asked if she wanted to go back to her childhood church. And I've as an agnostic, I would pray, and they would happen. And I always questioned, and just had a lot of people around me with faith. My brother, my really good friend and singer from my middle situation of the Jeffrey Nothing Project, and just Stacy and her grandma. And I just stopped fighting it one day, and we just shared our testimonies as part of that Sunday night recovery group. And I it took me a minute to really plant myself in that. I like to be a spectator for a while and just listen to the word. And that was there was just letting a lot of stuff out that's been my life as a musician, and it really felt good, even the breaking down at the end. But it was good to get it out. And I was baptized again at that church with my wife. And you say you're going to make more disciples, and people would ask me all the time about my faith and Messenger and stuff. And I told some people how to pray, and I think I brought some people to God, and to each their own. I never disrespected anybody's faith along the way, even when I didn't have any. And I'm in a non-denominational church, even though I haven't gone a little bit here. I pretty much pray every day.
I mean, I commend you, man. I think it all helps no matter what you believe in or no matter what spirituality or religion. And I think you gave a lot of people the courage. I mean, just public speaking alone is like some people's worst fear.
Yeah.
Like that in itself. Like we know people that it could just be weight loss is their ultimate fight in their life along their journey. And what you did really inspired people. I think more people should do that because we're lacking connection, right? We're lacking good examples of getting it off your chest and sharing and trying to, no matter what the outcome is. And of course, you know, we all send our deepest condolences. And now I know you're on your own. You know, you're facing your own challenges with cancer as well. And when I saw that, I was like, I gotta reach out to Jeff. I gotta talk to you about this because, you know, the headline, people just read the headline and then they assume. And so I wanted to give you the opportunity to reach a different audience and tell people kind of what your plan is and how you're facing your diagnosis, because I think the more that we hear and see stories like this, and the more that people learn, it can only help. Because on the one hand, and I just want to be clear, because I know we're on certain platforms that this gets dicey, and I don't want the episode to be shadow banned, and I'm going to let Jeff speak here. I'm sorry for talking so much, but it's dicey because we have a lot of stories of people doing the right, quote unquote, treatments and still getting an undesired outcome. Yeah. And then when someone like yourself, who has a platform, who's you know, making worldwide headlines for the diagnosis, says, I'm going to go a different route, and that's only in the headline, it doesn't mean that you can't do both. Yeah. But do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, first off, I want to touch on that last thing you talked about. I took an acting class in high school and I was horrified, and I just wanted to get out of speech, like having to do speeches all the time somehow. And it was fun being part of that, but I was still like sweating and shaking when I finally got up on stage to do my little skit. I'm a shy person. I push myself to be some level of extrovert. But singing to me has always been that release, especially in a mask. You lose your inhibitions, but having to publicly speak on a stage is like a nightmare for me. But to get to the other subject, my wife passed away on April 10th of 2024. By May, they told me I had cancer. What instantly clicked in my head was I'm a replacement patient. Cleveland Clinic, where she got most of her treatment, they have 3 7-level parking garages, which are full the entire time that place is open. And I know there's other conditions being treated there, but I was kind of, maybe it's not the right word, but I feel like I was hounded by any oncologist I've had to do surgery, chemo, and radiation. And I watched that disintegrate my life.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
And it's like, I feel like I can't speak for anyone, but I feel like at that moment you're kind of frightened into going that route. And I have a really good friend, Don Foos. He's been the longest friend of my life, really, and he's a very, very knowledgeable lifestyle guru. I kind of say he knows other paths to take nutrition-wise and herbs and just different things that are out there. He goes to India once in a while and brings a lot of stuff home. And he knew of a place out of Florida that offered a different route. And I sent in an application, and they do close-up pictures of both your eyes, and they can tell what's going on in you just from your eye pictures. And took them about a month, and we had a consultation. then they wrote my protocol up, sent me these different tinctures. I did 9 different ones and 2 capsules. They sent me 3 times a day for 8 weeks. I lived on fruit and vegetables. There was a week where I only ate grapes and only drank like the best version of grape juice you can get. And by the way, the black grapes are the best. They're purple, but they're called black. And I've been taking soursop the whole time, and Zeo likes to remove metals. And I even dabbled in ivermectin, and I've heard great things about that. But then I also heard it's loaded with metals itself. There's a couple other options out there. Apricot seed powder and B17, I guess, are having great results. And
did you do the ivermectin with the fenbendazole?
What was it?
Did you do that combination?
I just said ivermectin by itself. I never really found the other, and I did like I started with the one that tastes a little better. You put in your fridge at first, and then I switched to the Equimax, however you say it. And then I also got the liquid and put that in my belly button before bed, and as I laid down and just let it evaporate into me. But I also get in the sauna for at least half hour a day and sweat out the toxins. And I started hiking about 5 to 10 miles a day, because just being active and not just sitting on a couch is huge for good health. And when I can't get out there because of the weather, I have a treadmill, elliptical, and a stationary bike, and a maxi climber. And just getting your body moving is really essential, and sweating definitely.
And did you ever hear, like, when the body says no? Like, did you ever hear of any of those lectures by like Dr. Gabor Mate, or I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, or did you ever try any of the fasting? And look, for anybody listening, this is not medical advice. We're discussing, Jeff's strategies here with his diagnosis. And I find this stuff interesting because knowing people who have been in similar situations, that slash cut burn model that modern medicine has had for so many years that sometimes doesn't seem like it's really advanced, does get pushed on people. Yeah. And I know there have been other advancements, and I love to hear, the positive stories when it does quote unquote work. And I love to hear about immunotherapies and trials that are being done, but we rarely hear about natural cures, and we rarely hear the success stories. And I don't think it's because they're not happening. I think sometimes they're not amplified for whatever reason. And we'll leave that up to the listener and the watcher's discernment. But how are you feeling now? Like, what are you monitoring? And have you incorporated meditating and like, even like, cause I love the foo-foo stuff. Like, I love the real woo-woo. I'll go way out there with the talking to your cells. I mean, that's how I manifested everything with the band. Why couldn't you do it with your body? Yeah,
I think your mindset is really important. What was me, I think, leads to leaving us quicker. It's like I stay away from boards as much as I can, because people can be really cruel, and if you're not doing what they decide is the right way for everybody, they're putting you in a coffin in a year or saying rest in peace or whatever. But just like not letting the outside noise really damage how you feel about what you're doing is very important. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel a little thin, but I really push the sweating and exercising. So I'd imagine that comes from that more than anything. I don't have any pain at all, and I didn't once I started my treatment. And I just remember after the scans came back, my oncologist said, I have no idea how, but everything disappeared. And I said, so I'm cancer-free. And he said, well, I can't really say that without biopsies and all this stuff. But to me, and Don told me this in the beginning, biopsies and surgery really spread it. And I have nothing against anybody going that other route, and I hope they have a long life and it's successful for them. But mostly anyone I've watched go that route, you may live a decent amount of time, but what is that quality of that life? It's like chemo to me kills the cancer, but it doesn't do a very nice job with the healthy cells and eventually beats you down. And it's really, if you believe in what you chose as your path, I feel like it's going to work for you. It's just the mindset is so important. And to answer your other question, I've really never meditated. I definitely talk to myself. I mean, I've been pretty alone physically since I lost Stacy, but I make the most of my time. I'm always writing and always trying to think for the future, and chilling with my daughter Mia, who's now 25, which is like an insane thing in itself because you don't really have an age gauge until you become a parent, and it's like, holy crap, they're 25. That's nuts. I still feel 35, but
Yeah, I know.
It's really about quality of life, no matter what's going on in yours.
No, and I think it's great you're doing like the forest bathing and the hiking, all that stuff helps. But if you look up When the Body Says No, like you can look at some of the lectures up on YouTube or read the book or it's probably on Audible. But it made me think of it made me think of you because of it's basically about caregivers fatigue and the stress of having a loved one go through a disease and how we can't take care of others if we don't take care of ourselves. And I think I think a lot of people are going to see this and hear this and be greatly inspired, man. And that's why I knew we would, even though I didn't get to see in Cleveland, I knew our paths would cross again. And I knew we would do something cool, like have you play at Milwaukee Metal Fest, but also possibly do this podcast and try to keep the positivity out there and the positive energy out there, because everybody's rooting for you to stay healthy. And I love to hear that, like the scans. Yeah. Oh, I can't guarantee that you're free of this, but the scans are saying this. And the more we amplify stories like that, to me, it's just like when records in sports get broken. It's always impossible until somebody does it. And then once somebody breaks that record, the next like 10 people break it because they see it's possible.
Yeah. Being driven matters, and then just striving for something more than you've done before. It's like an amazing situation, and I wish with all my heart I could have really got her to try some things outside of what they said was the way, and just 7 surgeries eventually. There's like, in a mindset, that's the best way to get it out and be done with it. But it can bring more, and that's so hard. I'm not really sure where I was going completely with this, but
no, I'm glad. I'm glad you brought it
still
up.
Be here and doing it.
I'm glad you brought it up because I know it's hard to talk about, and our hearts go out to you. I had a friend. I think I'm not going to say who, but I think they'd be okay with me sharing the story. But they were always buying. They were always getting sick and always buying these over the counter, like nonstop, like at least 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year sometimes. Yeah. And then mainstream news broke that they were all these over the counter things didn't work. Yeah. And the person was like, couldn't believe it. Like, just like, and it really shook their worldview when it was mainstream media now saying like, it's basically out in the open that none of these things work and they were all a scam. But I said, yeah, but it worked for you because of the placebo effect, which is really still mysterious to a lot of people. And when people look into those books, like Dr. Joe Dispenza and the people that really get into the placebo effect, it's pretty miraculous. And there's a lot of cases of miraculous remission and healing. And so, although it sucks that people were scammed and they were putting chemicals in their body and that these companies, misled them, it's also kind of cool in a way where for those who really thought it did work, it worked. Or at least it gave them some sort of relief.
Yeah.
but
Um,
it's fascinating that it takes something like that to break someone's like really rigid view of modern medicine.
yeah, I feel like so many things you can buy anywhere mask the symptoms. And I myself always have a bottle of oregano, which is oil of oregano, and I have colloidal silver. And those things really knock something off. You get any kind of virus or whatever. And as far as having a dog, if they tell you that's particle, you give it colloidal silver. You're not paying that $450 treatment charge. And yeah, it's crazy to me the whole petroleum situation took over the medical world, and things that seem to have done a pretty good job just went away because they had to sell these products. But I hope people find things that work for them no matter what it is. And if it's just mindset being some part of it, then that's great. But I like to just knock things out as soon as I can instead of suffering for it in the long term.
And just so if we do get flagged, or if someone, if it's normal to get haters on a podcast like this. So if someone wants to report the episode or whatever, I'm going off of a PBS.org article, straight from the FDA press release that said decongestants. This is back in 2024. It's out there for everybody to see. A simple Google search will say, and I can share the link in the chat here for the patrons. It says the FDA says decongestant in many cold medicines doesn't work, and that it didn't have, after many studies, it didn't have any better results than the placebo. So I mean, and that's an ingredient that's used in Sudafed, Dayquil. I mean, we can go on and on and on, but a lot of this stuff has dyes in it. A lot of this stuff has concealed ingredients like natural flavoring or whatever, where you don't even know what's in that, like ingredients where you don't even know what's in those ingredients.
Yeah.
But teach their own, and everybody's on their own journey, and they have to decide their own. And we don't even have to get into the insurance and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Which comes along with this. I do want to shout out some of our patrons, and shout out to Foos, and shout out. I mean, I love me some shout outs, but let's go to the chat here. Yeah. We got Dominique Zimmer, we got Paul Faza Fairley, we got Chris Shea, we got Andy Wilson, David Hammock. Good to see everybody back. Like I said, this is my first show back, starting the podcast back during the holidays, because we just announced all these bands from Milwaukee Metal Fest, and you're one of them. And people are already hitting me up. When's the meet and greet? What time are they playing? How long is the set? So you're going to get a lot of people hitting you up too.
Very cool.
Chris Shea says Jeffrey was so nice to a 16-year-old me back at a Mushroom Head show in Edgerton, Wisconsin at a side gig during the Ozfest tour. He's the man. I know, you're one of those guys. I never heard about, like through the years, and you're a real OG, man. You are a true OG. I mean, you were doing this shit in 85 when most of these motherfuckers weren't even born yet. You were thrashing. You were a madman. You were playing all the legendary venues. Andy Wilson says, that's heavy, man. Props to you for finding your faith and keeping going. A lot of men would find an escape into work or addiction. Keep the PMA. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And I know it's so hard to find a silver lining, but it's like gratitude to me, no matter what I'm going through, or no matter what a close family member or friend is going through, like that gratitude that we get to do today again. Like I woke up psyched today. I mean, we were going to talk to you. I know we got another podcast being scheduled, and we got this announcement at 3:00. I'm going to post the flyer in here for everybody to see. No one's seen all the cool additions yet. Agalock, Obituary, Iwata. Cool. Yeah. I mean, the lineup, and we have 40 more bands after this one today. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're gonna have the best weekend ever.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But let's go back to 85. Do you remember what it was like recording those songs? What was it first after the demo? Like it was the 7-inch with the 4 songs, the Purgatory. Like what was your first like real release?
We did the EP at a place called Britain Square Sound that I don't believe ever did metal before us. And those 4 songs ended up on the Title of the Tracks Auburn release, but they were so different just on how they felt post recording, and it was a really cool moment to. I recorded in New Orleans in a junkyard studio. The window between the control room and live room was the back window of a Corvette. Did a song called "Steel Stop Your Heart," like "Still Will" with like a contraction, and I was singing like Bon Scott, but way heavier, and it was pretty crazy. It was nice to just get my feet wet. We also did a cover of Hot Rockin', and people on New Orleans radio were like, "This can't be a real band. This is too good." And it was a really good feeling. And then they decided along the way they wanted to stick with the guys they had before I joined. So I came home. On my way out the door, I'm like, "Well, you guys go ahead. I'm gonna go home and become a rock star." And it's crazy because my the bass player in that band planned on making his own band down the road called Purgatory. And as a parting gift for myself, I took the name. And he ended up being some level of a teacher. I don't know if it's high school or college, but he tells my story every year because I did go home and became some level of that. So, but yeah, doing the album with Bill Peters, we were on Shelley Slater, I think her name was, on WCSB in Cleveland. We were playing boombox practice recordings of Purgatory, and Siki from Black Death heard us on there, and he got a hold of Bill Peters. And next thing I know, we're in Suma tracking title tracks full length, and there was a lot planned and amazing stuff happened, and we stayed basically regional. And truth be told, so did Hatrix, but there were amazing moments in my journey, and it was so cool to finally get in studios and do that stuff and see Grand Funk on the wall and know they stayed in those cabins in the back, and everything was just really amazing.
Well, and also those records got reviewed, internationally, and tape trading was big. And I remember hearing Purgatory tracks on various tapes and stuff, and thinking, and I remember discovering that, as well as like Exhorter, and then down the line, Pantera. And so the fact that you recorded in New Orleans, it's like, did you ever know that those guys knew of you or knew about you? And then, and who were you trading with back then? And what was your best support slot that you played?
I believe somewhere along the way in my New Orleans band that Phil Anselmo opened for me, and I heard that he had the Purgatory record. And Craig Voltz was a big tape trader in the area, and he would send me a lot of stuff, and there's just so many live tapes out there of Purgatory, and I really regret never making Dark Alley Surgery, which would have been our second record, that I really feel like would have put us out there completely, and we would have been out there touring, and who knows what would have happened, but also everything that happened after that might not have ever happen. And I remember being out with Lamb of God, and they're like, "You guys were Hatred," or they're like, "We grew up on this shit. Why are you still doing that?" And it was like, it felt really good. And just the journey's been really cool with the way it's gone. I would rather not been fired from a project that I founded, but life happens.
Well, yeah, and we got so much great music out of it, and learned so much of the history of Cleveland. And I remember, when I roadied for Integrity, I would drive out there to see shows, and I remember going, okay, now I get it. Now I get some of the evolution of the music, because when you hear Ringworm and you hear Integrity, they're so metallic. It's no wonder that the metal roots ran so deep in Cleveland with all you guys. And it's great to see the other bands doing it and still doing it. And Integrity is going to be on the Milwaukee Metal Fest. Hopefully Ringworm will be as well.
That's awesome.
But so much talent came out of that area. It's almost like it doesn't get its due. I know you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you have you have other artists that went on to big commercial success, but it's cool to see when kids find it and they go and they hear it, because your favorite band that you never heard of is always out there. You just got to be looking, and you got to go down the rabbit hole of history. But what is one of those what is one of those like local or regional groups that you thought, besides yourself back then, that you thought should have went further or should have gotten more commercial success?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'd be in my basement mirror with a hairbrush for a microphone, singing like bands I don't want to mention because, well, it was the Jacksons and the Osmonds, I'm gonna be honest. But I'd be like singing at 6 years old, like I'm a rock star. And, I had like a Kiss cover band when I was 14. I pretended to play bass and sang. It was like a 3-piece, but it was fun.
Hey everybody, Jamey here, letting you know today's episode is brought to you by Blue Grape Music. Blue Grape is killing it as of late. You know, we took Gridiron on tour, we took Fugitive out. They both killed it. I've been checking out Heavy Hitter, and they're going to be playing Milwaukee Metal Fest on Saturday, June 6th with Killswitch and Suicidal and a bunch of other great bands. But right now, I want you to check out their brutal debut album from Baltimore's punk metal hardcore amalgam. The band is called Gasket, and it's out now on Blue Grape Music. The album features the ferocious Blood to Bone and Die Trying. Let's hear a little bit. That's Gasket. Their album is out now on Blue Grape Music. Big thanks to Blue Grape Music. Head on over to bluegrapemusic.com after the podcast today. While I have you, be sure to check out rainingphoenixmusic.com as well. Bunch of new releases are out now on Raining Phoenix. Amorphous, Agnostic Front, Echoes in Eternity album, Insight, Halloween. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Head on over to rainingphoenixmusic.com after the podcast today. Sign up for their music newsletter. Make sure you stop by and check out all their bands at Milwaukee Metal Fest. And we give a big thanks and a big shout out to the whole team at rainingphoenixmusic.com. Now back to the show.
But I remember I was about 20, 21. I went to a place called the Cleveland Connection, and I saw a band called Snake Rock. And it just blew me away. They were like any huge act you see on the road. They're in my hometown. They're from my hometown. And it was like, whoa. And I knew right then this is definitely what I want to be. And I remember my high school battle of bands. I'm running the lights for my buddies, watching them up on stage. I'm like, I got to be up there. And I don't care how shy I am. I don't care if I talk to the crowd. I got to do that. And really that Cleveland Connection moment was the real turning point. But Cleveland's always had like an amazing like history of great talent, and I always thought it was like this is the best kept secret in the world. But I've been to a lot of scenes that had really cool bands, and I hope people really go out and support bands instead of living their life on their internet and not really going out and being around people, keeping that superhero image going, not really having to be that person out in public. But I just think live is like so incredible. And like I said, I love writing and tracking, but that space in between you and that audience is so incredible. And hearing everybody sing everything back is ridiculously amazing. And anybody out there thinking about doing music, I hear so many stories of people saying, dude, get a real job. You don't want to do this. There's no money in it. But that connection with fans and growing those relationships and becoming friends, that's like really being rich to me.
I couldn't agree more, man. And I when we did our first show, or one of our first shows out there, we did like a chicken wing bar down in the flats. And I think it was with, I want to say it was with One Life Crew or someone. I'll have to find the flyer. I know I have the flyer here somewhere. But I remember going and getting the free paper and thinking, wow, this is cool, but what's the next step? And looking at the lineups at like Peabody's and the Odeon and at the Agora and going, God, what I would do. Like I would kill to be in the paper and see my name live at the Odeon. And then so when we got on the Motorhead tour in 99 and got to play there, and when we got to play the Agora with Sepultura, and you know, I was always so grateful because I was that kid looking in the paper when we would travel out there and see this is where Fishbone plays, this is where Danzig plays, this is where Primus plays, Metallica, and you know, even when we started to get bigger and we would do like the Nautica or got to play with original Sabbath out in Blossom there. It never like didn't dawn on me how cool and important it was. And I still get that feeling now. And I love to give others that feeling when we book the younger bands, because there's sometimes I go, well, you don't want to drive all the way out here for $500. Let's wait till next year. And they're like, no, we do. And I remember, well, yeah, that's what I did. But what was the first like big show where you were like, okay, this is it, I can do this? Did you have a moment like that where you got to play one of those legendary venues?
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember a friend of mine's daughter had this thing in school she had to do of somebody famous she knew somehow, bring them in and have them speak. And I went back to my original high school, and I thought, wow, this place is little. This is so crazy. And then I remember finally playing Peabody's, being in the pit so many times there, not really moshing, but observing, but thinking it was like, wow, this amazing place. And I finally got up on stage up there, and I'm like, wow, this is tiny. It looks so big when you're in the audience watching your heroes up there. But I think first time I ever did anything live, I was with my buddy's band. They were called Fastlane. They were a cover band. They got into some heavy stuff once in a while, but I did with them. But I did the Rockets version. It wasn't really a Fleetwood Mac version, but it was so cool. So cool to finally sing live in front of a good amount of people. But playing Blossom was nuts for me. And I wasn't like really rehearsing it as far as how I was going to look on stage or anything, but I got up on their little risers we had up on stage, and I was just like, it was like, wow, I'm up here. This is nuts. And I just always remember thinking of Donington and just famous places I never thought I'd be. And first time we were in Europe, we were on that side stage in Castle Donington. I was like, wow, this is like unbelievable to be up here. And it happens all the time. I got to play Russia right in Red Square right before things got a little bit different between us again. And that was really amazing. And I've been to Australia twice and Europe so many times. It's like unbelievable. I used to wonder, LA and New York are amazing. I wonder if I'll ever be there. And then I ended up playing both so many times. And there's like really cool venues along the way, and really, really just things that felt unbelievable and impossible. There's just really too many moments that were incredible. And that's, I guess, where the Blossom was definitely where it started.
Also, I don't know if a lot of people realize that we were label mates. Like, we both got signed to the biggest record label in the world, which that alone was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
If you think about that, and being given the budgets that we were given and given the opportunity to work with, like, we worked with Mark Webb, who went on to direct Spider-Man and shit. He was like this. He was like, these fucking lunatics. I got to get out of this business, or at least not book music video jobs like this. But what was that like, and what was that process? Because wasn't there a bidding war for Mushroom Head at that time, and you decided on Universal because they courted you because of all the local radio success and the upswell that was happening around you, right?
Yeah, it was really there was a couple of specific ones more than anywhere else, but we were outselling everyone at all the local record stores, Super Butte, Subtitle. Like, we were beating everyone in sales, and Roadrunner was interested, but we were kind of too big for our britches a little bit, and we're like, we're making this money ourselves in a weekend. They want all of our merch, and we turned it down. And hindsight being 2020, and my word meaning a little more, I think we should have ran with it, but we were signed to Eclipse, and we put out that version of Double X, and I really liked the sound of that. And then next thing I know, Corey Wright, I think his name is, probably maybe not exactly the right name connection, but he was at our shows, and they were definitely looking at us, and just knowing Universal was interested is insane. And we were like, where do we sign? But the crazy thing is, we went with Avery and I think his brother at a place in Middleburg Heights, and that hotel was kind of cursed. There was a couple on their wedding night that stayed there and died of smoke inhalation, and they tore that place down sometime after that meeting, and nothing else has ever been built there.
No
and
way.
Then, yeah, and then we're on tour 9/11, and we're home because I had to get a checkup because something was possibly going on even back then as far as what I just been battling. But we never got to go back on the road because 9/11 happened, and there was just a lot of like 13 was finally tracked because it's Double X was a compilation, and they were so excited to have their first record to push that was actually their baby. And unfortunately, somebody in the band decided to say no to everything they wanted to do promo wise, and we weren't long for that Universal moment anymore, and that sucks because it feels so good to have the label push, just even over bringing in a ton of money, because you can't buy that kind of exposure. But I just remember I think it was called Roseland Ballroom. I forget, Oregon, maybe somewhere out there. We played a show where Pink Floyd and Zeppelin and everybody played, and it was like a place made for big, huge waltz dances, and the floor bounced. And it was really great to play somewhere big like that together. I'll never forget that gig.
Yeah, I want to say it was well, first it was Godsmack, and then it was you guys, us, and Flaw was the three signings, and they kind of like pit us all against each other in a way where it was like, okay, whoever sells the most gets a second record, or whoever, I guess, spends the least and makes the most. That's when I really started to learn the sort of inside baseball stuff at these labels. I'm wondering if it was Corey Dwight. Maybe it was Corey Wright, but so when I went and met with Monty and Avery, and shout out to Monty and Avery, because they gave us a great opportunity, buying us out of our other deal.
That happened with us too.
And that's kind of what their model was okay, if you're popping in the indie world, or if you're selling in the local stores, or if you're selling on an indie label, then we're going to take it and get you in a Best Buy and magnify it times 10 and up the budgets and get you a real art director. But you guys did the one record?
Yeah.
Okay.
The compilation of Toby Wright, I think, remixed it.
Right. And then and then Flaw, I think, whatever happened with them? They imploded shortly after, or I've heard various stories. Like I remember I was trying to get sober on that one Ozfest, so I was really, and it didn't work. I didn't get sober, but I would see Flaw and I would go, all right, I got to avoid them because they're on another, like I'm never going to stop drinking if I make friends with them. And shout out to I think it was their drum tech, Mud Billy. Shout out to Mud Billy. He was like, oh man, these guys, man. Yeah, they were like fighting each other and stuff, I think. Yeah. If I'm remembering correctly.
The drummer and singer, both named Chris, I believe. They were sort of related through marriage, and I guess they would have in the bus boxing matches occasionally. We did half of Ozfest, and Flaw did half of Ozfest. They did the first, we got the second. So I see what you mean about the Universal thing. I think they wanted to catch lightning in a bottle, hoping we would ride on that Slipknot wave a little bit. I don't know if it fully happened. When we were given our walking papers, we were 1.9 mil unrecoupable.
I would love to see those statements and to see,
But Flaw's still going. I see him. They just set up a new tour.
Okay, yeah, because I want to say we were at one point, we were all kind of neck and neck. Like when we did our second one, I think it was debuted at like 30 on the Billboard, and then theirs debuted at like 40 or something. I remember it was like within 30, 40,000 units first week. And we thought that was huge, because we're coming from a world where, our favorite bands, Earth Crisis, Sick of It All, Snapcase, Strife, they were selling that over like 2-3 years time. And so we're thinking we did that in a week. Like, Perseverance got to like 300,000 scanned. It stayed on the Billboard for like 200 weeks or something insane.
Yeah.
But now knowing what I know and knowing what was spent, because my buddy Dean did Flaw's video, and that budget with the one where they had like the big F and the L and the A, like the budget was insane. And and you think, did you really need to spend that? Like maybe if you just did like us, like if you we had 100 million streams on a video, on a song that we did a video, I think for like $5,000. And these guys are out there spending like 300-400 grand on a video, and I don't think the song got 100 million streams, but this is back before streams. But what I'm saying is, like, I know hindsight is 2020, but man, if you went back and you see that statement, you go 1.9 million unrecouped.
Yeah.
Where would you cut? Like, where would you cut from that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any possible way. And it was, Solitaire Unraveling, I think, was like 160,000, and it was a really fun experience. But that's insane. And we get like per diem and all this shit. It's like, this is nuts. But
you took tour support, so you could be in a bus.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
But Universal is fun. I like to have a shot to do this new project on somewhere close to that level. I feel like done the right way, it'd be the best way to get it all out there to everybody. You don't have that exposure anywhere else.
So you're free agents, because we, I mean, just for the festival alone, we have 5 or 6 label sponsors, but there are labels out there that are aggressively signing artists, and doing pretty good deals. I gotta say, like, I know I can be very negative about the industry sometimes, but they're doing creative deals. They're doing more artist friendly deals. So in a way, I guess we had to go through everything that we had to go through so that we could sort of learn and grow and keep being able to be creative. Because I guess now, if you look at too, the way that the way everything is so expensive to go on the road and recording too, right? Like, people go, oh, it's not that expensive. You could just do it at your house. Well, yeah, you can do that too, but I want to go to a real studio. I don't want to, that's just my choice. So I'd rather have a better budget to work within, to go do that. I'm not knocking anybody that records at their house. I've done that too.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is different, because you're adding theatrics. You want to have effects. You want to have all different sounds. Is there a plan to record, and where should interested labels reach out to you?
Yeah, I've gone to my wife's grave a lot. I just didn't want to be there on the year anniversary of her passing, but I still wanted to mean something. So I was in Houston. I actually tracked probably my favorite song I've ever made on that day for, I cried the whole time I wrote it after I got the first line, and then I tracked it 8 times and cried 3 times, and it's still being built into something really special. I just want to make it mean that much more after I'm fully done with it. But I spent 33 days there. We got like 11 songs.
Wow.
I was there like 3 weeks, and then I went back for another 12 days. And I've since tracked on a couple things for it out of my home rig I set up, and I've done a couple covers. But I love being in the studio. It's really cool. My favorite thing is think tanking, but I also like doing it myself and seeing how it comes across on the recording. That's what happened with that Die Humane song, The Deep. I wrote that 3 times, and I was ready to start writing again. And then Josh was like, can you send me what you have so I can see what I think of it? And he loved what I did. And then I tracked more vocals for it. And then that was all just from home. And I've done some guest spots just from home. And it's really fun to have that set up there and be able to do that like that. And I just remember, Jens from Meshuggah sent his parts for it. The Dream Is Over, I believe it was called, with us, and that's something that couldn't have happened if we couldn't have that technology these days. But I think both ways are amazing. If you could do it, I never want to get to where I'm having AI make my music, even though if there's cool things people end up making out there with that format, more power to them. But you can reach out to me at jeffreynothingproductions@gmail.com if anybody's interested in checking it out. We have, like I said, like 11 songs. I got a couple covers. I'm going to make another one, and then we got a couple other songs we're working on. So I'd like to make the record straight up 13 songs. But yeah, I don't want to, I guess it's called a 360 deal. I don't really want to end up somewhere like that, but just somebody that can really get behind the music and give it the biggest audience possible and believes in it like we do.
Yeah, no, and there's something about this studio too that opens you up creatively, especially if it's a studio where like legends have stood there and made amazing songs and amazing records. There's something about that. Not that it can't be done, and because I'll say that now, and then I'll be recording something over here in the bedroom too. But and that can be amazing as well. But yeah, I feel like there's just something about certain rooms. Like I was talking to Bron from Mastodon the other day, and he was at God City, and I'm looking forward to hearing the new Mastodon, and they're doing it with Kurt from Converge, which this guy is so detail oriented and he's so amazing and talented. And it's just going to sound, for all the audio files out there and for all the people that love production and love, they're going to make magic together, and it's exciting. But yeah, there's tons of records that people made in their bedrooms that are magical too. I guess it's all where you derive your inspiration from, and whatever level you're at. You gotta always be creative. And like I said earlier, I really do believe everyone's biggest song, biggest piece of artwork, biggest, most impactful piece of work is still within them. And I love that you're collaborating. So other bands and stuff can reach out to you for collabs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hitting the brakes on it a little bit, not pushing that right now because I got so much going on. I'm doing the new Jeffrey Nothing. I'm also going to do a legacy version and play everything from my discography. I would get to where people can request a song within that 2 weeks of that, and we can do that live for them at wherever they're at. And I also just rebuilt Purgatory. Anybody interested, I'm still looking for that second guitarist, like them be able to be lead and rhythm. But the guys that were involved in it were just, it was just in a case it was time to move on, and the other two guys just wanted to like do life for a while or from that here on out. But I wanted to keep it going after it kind of finally been back after like crazy long hiatus, and we only did a year of it, and I just like to get out there more and still being the original vocalist. And I feel like as long as I'm there, it's Purgatory. But
okay, so Purgatory is going to still play, and people can hit you up and book shows. And
yeah, it's in the infancy. We haven't rehearsed yet, but I got some bigger local guys doing it as part of their 6 bands they're in, but
right.
It's more of a here and there type live thing. But I would like to record Dark Alley Surgery finally, and maybe write some new stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing I wanted to mention, because you were talking about Universal. Oh, the hotel. When you said the place was cursed and it burnt down right after you had the meeting with Monty and Avery. Did they?
Yeah, it didn't burn down. They tore it down.
Oh, they tore it down.
It was time for something else to be there, but I believe it's still vacant today. Like there's just places that just have this vibe that nobody else wants to try it.
So did they fly out to see a show and then you met with them after, or did they just fly out for the meeting?
Corey flew out and talked to us, and I forget the guy who was a golf pro or something, and then he became an A&R guy. He ended up being our A&R guy over Corey. But yeah, Monty and Avery flew out and just met with us in the bar. I think it was just Skinny and I.
Was it Tom?
But what's up?
Was it Tom?
Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah, he ended up our A&R guy. Maybe it's Corey Rogers. His last name escapes me right now, but yeah, Tom Mackay.
Tom Mackay. Yep.
Yeah, and he, I think Corey believed in the songs themselves a little more than Tom, but it was a good experience, and I'll never forget it. Like right around the time we were being let go, they signed Ra, and then they ended up letting Ra go on, and Ra was back. And then I asked the local guy at one of our shows, like, "So you got signed Ra again?" He's like, "Yeah, they have another hit." Something, and so that was our problem, but
oh right, Ra,
yeah.
R.A.
Yeah.
Yes, they were the other one. Okay, so there was yeah. So it was
and then 12 Phones came in after us.
Yeah, and then Hinder, right? Tom was Hinder's, and I had heard
that was a B-side.
Yeah, I had heard Tom thought that song was cheesy. Tom, if you're out there, let us know if that's true. Allegedly, I heard Tom didn't want their biggest hit on their album.
Yeah,
bro, you had one job. I don't know if that's true. Right, Ra. I forgot about them. Right. Yeah, because that was when they were like, "Oh, we got to have radio hits," right?
Yeah.
They were trying to get a radio hit out of you, like something like 2-3 minutes, go right to the chorus, no double bass, no screaming. Did you have conversations like that?
I feel like Sun Doesn't Rise answered that call, but I like Mushroom Head better when we were just writing and tracking. We weren't really like, "You need to make hits, I think Solitaire and Rattling just happened. I think that's the best place a band can be. Just be yourself. They got to do a radio edit.
I know, I remember hearing all those conversations in all my buddies' bands, especially the ones that were trying to get on majors. They would get told that, and then I would go to WCCC in Hartford, and they'd be playing "Sugar" by System of a Down, and it has straight screaming, double bass, has a breakdown at the end, and I'm like, wait, so they're allowed to scream on the radio and nobody else can? Like I don't get it. Like it was always, they would always move the goalpost for certain bands. It was that always puzzled me. Like Killswitch, they're making them take the double bass out. So thank God those days are over, because to me, a hit is a hit. It might not get played on a radio. Like God Save the Queen didn't get played on commercial radio, but it's still a hit, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times
Roots didn't get played on commercial radio, but it's still a hit.
Yeah. Like a band could have poor record sales and be gigantic in other ways. Like so many bands are so amazing live and they just don't translate on a record. It's like you never know what the situation is, but there's so many ways to be big time without the numbers always making sense.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a different genre, but I remember hearing Grateful Dead was like, producers and stuff were like, "I can't work with this. What is this?"
I know, and then Blossom is sold out. We'll have 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
I remember going to one of those shows, just standing out, just to stand outside to do other business outside the show, and am going like, wow, this band's not even on. They're not on MTV. I think the only time I ever saw them on MTV was for that one song, which I don't even think they played, and people. Or at least they didn't play that night when I was there, but I don't think they had like a song that was a hit, but their fans didn't like it because it was a hit, right? I forget what it was.
They will get by.
Yeah. That's it.
Yep. Touch of Grey.
Gray.
But yeah, what the hell was I going to say?
We're all just, we all still got our touch of gray in there somewhere. We just
definitely. Yeah.
As long as it's not being pushed out of us because of some pressure by the label or whatever. But Jeff, thank you so much for the time, and we wish you health, wealth, happiness, happy holidays, all that stuff. We'll be really psyched to see you June 5th through the 7th. Everybody go get their tickets at therave.com/metalfest, or you could just go to metalfest.com and give Jeff a follow on Instagram. It's Jeffrey_nothing_official.
Yeah, on Instagram. And then
Okay.
Jeffrey Nothing on Facebook, and .com is about to be back up. And thanks so much, Jamey. It's been a blast.
Yeah, anytime. And come on before the fest, too. We'll check back with you in a couple months if you got any new songs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will. Let's go to the chat real quick. Paul Fauza says, we getting a sneak peek of MMF announcement before you log out? Yes, I will post it on Patreon. Just don't share it. You know, the new thing is, like, when we say don't share it, people just go and they share it. So you always got somebody. That's the point. It was like the last time we did it, people just went and they posted the email that said not public, do not share.
Wow.
Yeah, we're like that was the whole
it's
point.
Fine print.
Why are you giving it to the people that don't deserve it? Like, why are you giving it? Like, the whole point was to keep it for the people that yeah, it's all good. Shit happens.
Yeah.
But thanks again. Yeah, we're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be the best weekend ever, June 5th through the 7th. And yeah, come back before the fest. Come back on the podcast.
Definitely.
We got some new music to hear. Keep us all updated, and best wishes to your brother. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, quick outro, and thanks again to all our patrons. If you are watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and sign up over at patreon.com. You might have heard me shouting out their names just a minute ago, and yours could be in there too when you sign up for the executive producer level. You want to sit in on some of these podcasts, sign up for the all access level, or if you just want to hear some of the exclusive podcasts, you can sign up for the official patron tier over at patreon.com/Jasta. And if you want the Jasta Show archives, head on over to gasdigitalnetwork.com and sign up over there. All right, big thanks to Sumerian Records. You will see Face Yourself at Milwaukee Metal Fest Sunday, June 7th. Go get their record at sumerianrecords.com. Big thanks to Blue Grape Music. Check out bands like Gasket, Heavy Hitter, Gridiron, Fugitive, and many more. BlueGrapeMusic.com. Go check it out. Sign up for their newsletter. And sign up over at RainingPhoenixMusic.com as well. They got new releases from Agnostic Front, Insight, and many more. And yeah, that's it for now. We got a stacked schedule coming up of podcasts galore. Everybody from Attila from Mayhem to Mark Morton from Lamb of God, Wednesday 13, Ian Finance. I mean, wait till you see this rollout. Now that the show is coming back full force, it's going to be a good time. Thanks again, everybody. Drink your coffee, do your push-ups, listen to death metal. I'll be back. Bye-bye. The Jasta Show is executive produced by Jeffrey Kewen, Andy Wilson, Jack Flanders, Justin Stephen, Jake Olszewski, Benjamin Lee, Kathy D'Ambrosio, Chris Larice, Jason Jarvis, JJ Hernandez, Nick Torito, Garrett Keeping, Kyle Marg, Nick Fowler, AJ Lewis, Jonathan Mettis, Mark Tagg, Andy and Kona Butterflies, Ryan Levson, Kenneth Moore, Jamie Kutcher, Matthew Yankowskis, Chad Green, Dallas Bolin, Larry Tooley, John Hankus, Brian Underkofler, Fernando Somoza, Nathan Rex Madrid, Chris Winchester, Mark Horror Armenta, Mike Horgan, Dominique Zimmer, Mark Loikitz, Emma Horgan, Stephen Helm, Samuel Angeli, Adam Mecklenburg, Anthony Lutzy, Jared DeWeese, Dan Ryan, Alex Queller, Mike Murray, Chad Longworth, Clint Smith, Dan Sullivan, David Hammock, Robert Bouchaw, Steve Deterting, Heathen Assault, Jason Duran, Chris Panasic, Zane Dickens, Jay Liberston, Aaron Ramey, Dave Cowles, Brandon Johnson,